teacher Christopher, your grade 2 mathematics teacher. Welcome to your second mathematics e-learning lesson. Our topic for today is comparing. Before we start with today's topic, we will look at the feedback to our previous activity in lesson 1. Okay, activity 1 was asking to count and write the missing numbers. Here we were counting in twos, so the missing numbers are 10, 14, 18, 22, and 26. In activity 2, here we count and write the missing numbers, and here we are counting in threes, so the missing numbers are 12, 18, and 27. Activity 3, here we are counting in 4, so the missing numbers are 8, 16, 24, and 34. Here, this was a mistake, there is no missing numbers here. So the missing numbers are 8, 16, 24, and 32. We are counting in fours. And then activity 4, here we are counting in fives. So the missing numbers are 20, 40, and 45. We are counting in fives. Activity 5, we were supposed to count in tens and write the missing numbers. And then the missing numbers are 20, 40, 60, and 80. Those are the missing numbers because we are counting in tens. So you skip 9 numbers in between, and the 10th one is the next number that you need to write there. You skip the 9 numbers, and then the 10th is the one to write. And then activity 6 was saying count backwards and fill in the missing numbers from 20 in twos. Here we are counting in twos, but we are counting backwards from 20. So we start with 20, and then 18, and then 16. Then we skip here. We skip 15, and then we have 14. We skip 13, and then we have 12. We skip 11, and then we have 10. We skip 9, and then we have 8. And then we skip 7, and then we have 6. We skip 5, and then we have 4. And then we skip 3, and then we have 2. So the missing numbers were 16, 14, 8, and 4. You write them in the correct order. Okay, so let's start with today's topic. We said today we are going to do comparing numbers. Comparing numbers show us whether a certain number is equal or smaller than or bigger than the other number. It shows us whether a certain number is equal or smaller than or bigger than the other number. We usually compare between two numbers. We compare between two numbers. You are given two numbers, and then you compare if is it equal, are they equal, or is it smaller than the other or bigger than the other. In mathematics, we have 3 comparison symbols. We have a greater than symbol that you can do with your arm, with your right side arm. By just folding your arm, you can do it. This is a greater than symbol. And then we have a less than symbol that you can do it with your left hand side arm. Just by folding it, the sign it's less than. And then we have the equal to symbol, and this equal to symbol tells us what we have on the left hand side is equal to or is the same as the one that is on the right hand side. And here the greater than symbol tells us which one is greater than or bigger than the other. Okay, let's look at the example here. Where when we have a bigger number on your left hand side and then the smaller number on your right hand side, we use a greater than symbol. We say it's greater than. When we have a bigger number on your left and the smaller number on your right, we use a greater than symbol. But if we have a smaller number on your left and a bigger number on your right, we use a less than sign. I said when we have a big number on your left and a small number on your right, we use a greater than symbol. But when we have a smaller number on your left and a bigger number on your right, we use a less than symbol. Remember, when this mouth here is always pointing at the bigger number. It's always pointing at the bigger number, while the tip is always pointing on the smaller number. This mouth always facing or pointing the bigger number, while the tip is always pointing at the smaller number. For example, we have 1 and 2 there. We have 1 and 2, so 1 is a small number while 2 is a big number. So we put a sign that's having a tip pointing on the small number that is on our left hand side and the mouth pointing to the big number that is 2 on our right hand side. So we put a less than sign and then we read as follows, like 1 is smaller than 2. And then we have 300 and 150. Here the big number here is 300 and the small number is 150. So we put a sign that the mouth is pointing to 300 while the tip is pointing to 150. So we read as follows, 300 is greater than 150. And then we have 100 and 200. Between these two numbers, 100 the small number and 200 is the big number. So we put a sign that is pointing, the tip is pointing the small number while the mouth is pointing to the big number. So we put a less than sign and then we read as 100 is less than 200. And then we have 34 and 21. 34 and 21. 34 is bigger than 21. So we put a symbol that the mouth is pointing to 34 while the tip is pointing to 21. And we read as follows, 34 is greater than 21. And then we have 6 and 3 plus 3. Okay, 3 plus, if you have 3 sweets and then you add another 3 sweets, the answer will be 6. The answer here will be 6. So we have 6 on our left hand side and then 6, because 3 plus 3 will give us 6, and that means we have the same numbers on our left hand side and also on our right hand side. So the answer here will be an equal sign, because they are the same numbers on each side. We have the same numbers on each side. Remember, always the mouth must be facing to the big number, while the tip must be facing to the small number. And then you read as follows. If the tip is facing, is on your left hand side, and then the mouth is on your right hand side, we read it as less than. While if the mouth is on our left, is facing our left hand side, and then the tip is facing on our right hand side, we read it as greater than. Okay, it's time for the activity. It says fill in the correct sign. Is it greater than, less than, or equal to? A, we have 200 and 500. B, we have 54 and 50 plus 4. And then C, we have 33 and 22. And D, we have 10 and 20. E, we have 13 and 16. You fill in the correct symbol. Okay, we have come to the end of today's lessons. Answer to the activities will be provided in our next lesson. Remember to keep safe, wash your hands, and avoid crowded places in order to fight COVID-19. Thank you.